Joining us now is spokesperson for ADF International, Lois McLatchie Miller. Lois, you've been there with our good mate Billboard Chris Elston. Billboard Chris was on our show last week. He was heading into his court case with the Australian government. You're representing him. You're there in the courts. You've been out there with a billboard as well, I noticed. Well done. There's been clips of you on Twitter and so on. So just spell out again for us what the court case is that Billboard Chris is involved in against the Australian government.
Well, look, Chris is out there promoting one of the most important messages of our day, saying that no child has ever been born in the wrong body. Children are born perfect, no drugs, no scalpels needed. Now, this is the most important message that we have to hear. And unfortunately, it's the message that is being censored the most, particularly for Australians, it seems. Now, Chris sent out a tweet last year challenging the World Health Organization, who appointed a transgender activist named Teddy Cook, who had been also promoting a social media. An Australian.
Yes, representing Australia at the World Health
Organization. One would think that one needed medical qualifications and all sorts of different expertise. But Teddy Cook, on the other hand, was somebody promoting bondage and bestiality on the internet. It seems like a very inappropriate choice, to me at least, and also to Chris. Chris tweeted about this, addressing Teddy Cook as a woman, and she was biologically born using biologically accurate pronouns. However, the eSafety Commissioner over here in Australia...
This is Julie Inman Grant,
right,
appointed by the coalition.
But Turnbull,
supported
really
by Labor and supported by Peter Dutton's coalition. Yep. Julie Inman Grant, our eSafety Commissioner, yes.
Yeah, based all the way over here in Australia, saw this Canadian guy tweet about the World Health Organization on an American platform and thought that she would suppress that information so that Australians wouldn't be able to hear, wouldn't be able to discuss Chris's point of view, disagree or agree, and come to their own conclusion. And so that's the situation that we've had. The eSafety Commissioner reached out to X, asked them to block the tweet. There was an arrangement made that it was blocked only in Australia to protect Australian ears from this dangerous truth. And this case was challenging that, saying, no, Australians have the right to hear this. Chris has the right to speak freely in whatever country can access his information. And we shouldn't be shutting down this most important message. No child has been born in the wrong body.
And X is involved in this fight. Tell us about their involvement in the case.
That's right. Well, X are also challenging this censorship, of course, because Elon has been very vocal about the need for free speech. That's a big critical part of his takeover of X, was so that we could have these discussions online and offline. And yet Australia's government is saying, no, that you have to shut that down. So X was in court challenging this order. Billboard Chris was there, supported by us, ADF International and the Human Rights Law Alliance of Australia. And together we were able to put forward a very strong case. In Australia, freedom of political communication is an implied right under the Constitution. So anybody should be able to engage in political conversation, whether the average Australian might agree or disagree. That doesn't mean that you should shut someone's opinion down.
But this isn't an isolated case. We know this eSafety Commissioner, whose entire office was created to protect children from online bullying and predators. And has somehow morphed into this leftist activist. She's censored tweets from Jasmine Sussex, a breastfeeding advocate who said men can't breastfeed. Right. But I don't know how that is controversial in any planet. She tried to censor around the world footage of an alleged stabbing in a Christian church here in Sydney. So this is not isolated. How is Australia placed compared to the rest of the free world when it comes to this issue of censorship?
It's certainly one of the leaders, but we're seeing these online safety acts. I'm from the UK. We've got our own online safety act recently as well. So these things are popping up in the European Union as well, the Digital Services Act. There's a kind of concerted effort to control what's said online. I think especially since X became much more free and people are able to engage in more liberally in debate on X. There's kind of a moral panic about, what if these ideas are discussed? What if someone gets offended? Well, for somebody, especially a public figure like Teddy Cook, who has put herself out there with an opinion, fair enough, but has put herself out there to express a view, if you are putting yourself in a situation to say something controversial, you must be open to public criticism. You must be open to feedback. And that's what it's expected, especially of somebody who's working politically.
So, Lois, we hear these horror stories about, I believe, up to 20 people a week or something in Britain.
That's right.
Are being arrested, or certainly the police turn up at their doorstep and talk to them about their so-called hate speech, hate crimes. 20 people every week, apparently, according to the Free Speech Union.
Well, thank goodness we don't have any other crime in Britain, so that
That's right. Yes.
the police
They're
can
twiddling
just
their thumbs.
spend their time watching our tweets, and it's online and offline as well. On Friday, our group were supporting Livia Tisici-Bott, who was prosecuted for holding a sign saying "Here to talk."
Yes,
If
we've
you
got a
want.
photo of her. Well, we
That's
showed
right.
her earlier.
If you want, being keywords
Yes,
there
if
as
you
well.
want.
If you want, I consent to a conversation.
Can I ask though? You talked
There
about.
she is. She's on the
there
screen
she is on
there.
the screen
Yeah.
right there. Lois, though, this is a bigger trend. Australia seems like and our eSafety Commissioner Julie Inman Grant, she's American. She has links to America.
Right.
There seems to be this push from groups within the United States to use other democracies, such as Australia, Ireland, Great Britain, and the EU, as ways to put a ring around the internet and censor the First Amendment within the United States eventually by making it kind of the globalized sort of communications networks unusable without hitting these censorship networks. Have you noticed any diminishment in these efforts since the Trump administration took power and since the U.S. Agency for International Development, which has been very instrumental in an awful lot of censorship efforts around the globe, has simply gone the way of all flesh?
Well, I was very glad to see USAID exposed for what they have been doing around the world for many years. I think the average American, Democrat or Republican, had no idea that their taxpayer dollars were going to, fund Australian universities and, abortion here, sex change promotion there. Unbelievable.
Transgender operas or something. Wasn't it in
Eastern
some
Europe, I
obscure
believe.
place?
That's right. It's incredible to see that revelation come to the fore. And obviously, it's been great to see the American government speak out on issues that are happening, particularly in the UK, when it comes to the censorship of people who've been praying in their head or offering conversation. So it's good to see these things be put into the political discourse. I think shining light on censorship is the best way to counteract it, and that's why we're hopeful, not only around the world but here in Australia for cases like Chris's to be able to bring that to the fore.
ADF International, who are they and what do they stand for?
Yes, so we're a faith-based legal group that works around the world to defend everybody's right to live and speak the truth.
Right.
So that anyone who's being, whether that's somebody in Nigeria or Pakistan who's being put on death row for a blasphemous text message, or up in the UK, people being arrested for praying in their heads. We've got a Finnish politician who is on criminal charges for tweeting a Bible verse in 2019.
No.
So around the world, we're seeing this trend, whether it's from the East or from the West. Hate speech laws, blasphemy laws, different consequences many times in different countries, but same substance, saying that you cannot go against the dominant narrative. I would even go as far as to say the dominant religious narrative of the day, whether that's in the West in the kind of Church of Woke.
The Church
in
of
the
Woke.
West, it seems to be you can't go against the narrative that is prescribed by the minority, the elite minority. Just quickly, where's the case placed at the moment, and how much are taxpayers in Australia funding? Because I didn't sign up for the E-Karen to be fighting these cases, and we're funding that, and I would imagine it's not cheap.
It's certainly not. I don't have the data on how much money has been sent. No one has the full sum, but I do know some of the witnesses, some who weren't even called, were paid upwards of 10,000 Australian dollars, which is quite an incredible amount of money to censor
just
a
briefly,
Canadian.
because we're just running out of time, where is
right.
the case at the moment?
The case, we've just finished up the tribunal. We'll be waiting to hear the results within the next 6 months.
Well, good luck, Lois. That's Lois McLatchie Miller there from ADF International. Thanks, Lois, for coming on, and good luck. And say g'day to Chris from us out there with your billboards.